Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight. I'm Frank Razum Pereira, and before we begin with the headlines, we'd like to make an appeal to all our viewers. Rajya Sabha TV appeals to our viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now let's bring you the headlines. Election campaigning intensifies in Bihar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses public rallies, says for rapid development needs NDA government led by Nitish Kumar. Top opposition leaders including Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi Yadav also hold rallies. Construction work on a new building of Parliament to start this December. Lok Sabha Speaker says no effort will be spared to ensure quality and timely completion. Committee to monitor work on a daily basis. India progresses one more step in fight against COVID-19. For the first time in 2 months, active cases dropped below 7 lakhs. Recovered patients now 10 times more than new cases. Centre announces stringent steps to control onion prices and check hoarding. Stock limits fixed for wholesalers and retailers. Decision to sell buffer stocks relax import rules. American President Donald Trump, Democratic rival Joe Biden face off in last US presidential debate before elections. Trump promises COVID-19 vaccine soon. Biden accuses him of mishandling the pandemic crisis. Well, let's begin with our top focus on the bulletin this evening, where top leaders of all parties campaigned for the first phase of Bihar Assembly elections on Friday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched his election campaign by addressing 3 rallies in the state. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar shared the stage with him. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi opened his campaign with 2 rallies. He addressed one along with RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav. Well, Friday was the last date for withdrawal of candidature for the 3rd phase of the state elections. 78 assembly seats in 15 districts will go to polls in this phase on the 7th of November. Bihar is voting in 3 phases on 28th October and 3rd and 7th November. Results will be declared on the 10th of November. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday launched the electoral campaign for the Bihar Assembly elections. Addressing rallies in Sasaram, Gaya and Bhagalpur, he asserted that the NDA under Nitish Kumar will return to power in Bihar.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed his first public rally for Bihar Assembly elections from Sasaram on Friday. He said the voters of Bihar had decided that those who have a history of making the state Bimaru will not be allowed to return. Referring to Galwan Valley clash with Chinese troops, he said sons of Bihar had chosen martyrdom over letting down the country.
बिहार के लोगों ने मन बना लिया है, बिहार के लोगों ने ठान लिया है कि जिनका इतिहास बिहार को बीमारू बनाने का है, उन्हें आस-पास भी नहीं फटकने देंगे। पुलवामा हमले में भी बिहार के जवान शहीद भइले, हम उनके चरण में शीश झुकावतानी, श्रद्धांजलि देवतानी। बिहार अब विकास की ओर तेजी से बढ़त बात है। अब बिहार के कोई बीमारू बेबस राज्य नहीं कह सकत।
The Prime Minister also targeted the opposition over its demand to restore Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and over the protest against the farm laws.
2014 में केंद्र में सरकार बनने के बाद जितने समय बिहार को डबल इंजन की ताकत मिली, राज्य के विकास के लिए और ज्यादा तेजी से काम हुआ है। देश ने किसानों को बिचौलियों और दलालों से मुक्ति दिलाने का फैसला लिया, तो ये बिचौलियों और दलालों के पक्ष में खुलकर मैदान में है। मंडी और एमएसपी का तो बहाना है, असल में दलालों और बिचौलियों को बचाना है। बिहार ने
While addressing a rally in Gaya, Prime Minister Modi said NDA is committed to empowering Bihar. He added the most of problems that Bihar faces have their roots in misgovernance and anarchy of 1990s. Hitting out at the opposition, Prime Minister Modi said Bihar now has electricity and has no need for the lantern. Addressing a public meeting in Bhagalpur, Modi sought votes for another term of the NDA government under Chief Minister Nitish Kumar.
बिहार की अनेक समस्याओं की जड़ में 90 के दशक की अव्यवस्था है, कुशासन है। यहां अनेक युवा साथी हैं जो पहली बार वोट डाल रहे हैं या जिनका जन्म नई सदी में हुआ है। आपको अंदाजा नहीं है कि बिहार ने कितना लंबा रास्ता तय किया है। आज आप एक नए बिहार को बनते देख रहे हैं। बिहार में नई व्यवस्थाओं को बनते देख रहे हैं।
Nitish Kumar also shared the stage with Prime Minister Modi during an election rally in Sasaram. The Chief Minister highlighted the work done by the NDA government in the state.
प्रधानमंत्री उज्ज्वला योजना के अंतर्गत हर गरीब परिवार को मुफ्त में एलपीजी का कनेक्शन मिला हुआ है और कोरोना के दौरान 85 लाख परिवारों को मुफ्त एलपीजी गैस सिलेंडर उपलब्ध कराया गया। प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना के अंतर्गत महिला लाभार्थियों को 500 रुपये प्रति माह की दर से 3 माह की राशि प्रदान की गई। और इसके बाद जो हमारे लोग बाहर से यहाँ आए उनको मजबूरी में बाहर न जाना पड़े, इसके लिए आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने गरीब कल्याण योजना का शुभारंभ बिहार से ही करवा दिया।
The Prime Minister also paid tributes to LJP founder Ramvilas Paswan and former RJD leader Raghuvansh Prasad Singh, who passed away recently. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addressed his first political rally in Bihar for the upcoming assembly elections on Friday. He targeted the central government on farm bills at the Badlav Sankalp joint rally along with RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav at Hiswa in Nawada district. At a rally in Kahalgaon, he was accompanied by senior party leaders including Shakti Singh Gohil.
ये चुनाव आपके भविष्य का चुनाव है और आप मुझे जानते हो, मैं आपको एक बात बता देता हूं। अगर गठबंधन की सरकार, यूपीए की सरकार बिहार में बनेगी तो मैं आपको एक गारंटी दे रहा हूं, आप लिख लीजिए, वो सरकार सबसे पहले गरीबों की, किसानों की, मजदूरों की, छोटे दुकानदारों की, स्मॉल मीडियम बिजनेस वालों की होगी।
Addressing a public rally in Hiswa, RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav said that the upcoming elections will not be fought on the issue of caste or religion, but unemployment and poverty. In his address, he targeted the Nitish Kumar government over developmental issues in the state.
पहला कैबिनेट मीटिंग में पहला मंत्रिमंडल की बैठक में मेरा पहला कलम चलेगा तो एक साथ देश के इतिहास में पहली बार 10 लाख नौजवानों को सरकारी नौकरी। अरे रोजगार चाहिए, सरकारी नौकरी चाहिए। बताओ, हम झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे, हमको लंबा राजनीति करना है। हम ठेठ बिहारी है, ठेठ बिहारी जो कहा तरी ओकरा के पूरा करें।
Moving on to other big news now, where Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla reviewed the construction of the new Parliament House on Friday. The construction will start in December 2020 and is likely to be completed by October 2022. A monitoring committee will oversee day-to-day execution of the work. Here are the details.
The Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla was briefed on Friday about the progress made in shifting facilities and other infrastructure from the area proposed for the new Parliament building. The Speaker has decided to constitute a monitoring committee to oversee the day-to-day work on the construction. The monitoring committee will have officers of the Lok Sabha Secretariat, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, CPWD, NDMC, and the architect or designer of the project. Reviewing the progress of the project, Speaker Birla emphasized smooth coordination between various agencies on a regular basis. He said there should be no compromise in quality control and timely completion of work. Also discussed at the meeting was barricading plan and measures to control the air and noise pollution during the construction process. Speaker Birla was briefed about the proposed movement plan of VIPs, MPs and staff during the construction period. Existing Parliament House building is also being suitably retrofitted to provide more functional space for parliamentary events along with the new building. The new building will have separate offices for the members of parliament. Members will have wider, bigger and more comfortable seats equipped with digital interface in the chambers. Measures will be taken to promote a paperless office. The new building will also have a grand constitutional hall that will house, among other things, the original copy of the constitution and digital displays for showcasing India's democratic heritage. Visitors will be given access to this hall to help them appreciate India's journey as a parliamentary democracy. The new building will also have an MP's lounge, a library, 6 committee rooms, dining areas and a parking space. Kriti Mishra's report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu nominated 3 members of the Rajya Sabha as members of the Indian Council of World Affairs. The Vice President of India is the ex officio President of the ICWA. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has nominated 3 Rajya Sabha members to the Indian Council of World Affairs. They include Dr. Vinay P. Sastrabuddhe, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Rajiv Chandrasekhar. The Indian Council of World Affairs was established in 1943 as a think tank. Registered as a non-official, non-political and non-profit organization, it is devoted to the study of international relations and foreign affairs. An Act of Parliament in 2001 declared it an institution of national importance. The think tank has held many historic international conferences like the Asian Relations Conference in 1947 under the leadership of freedom fighter Sarojini Naidu and the United Nations and the New World Order in 1994. Eminent global personalities have addressed these events. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the centre has evolved a special borrowing window to address the shortfall in GST collection during the year 2020-2021. The centre borrowed and transferred 6,000 crore rupees as a first tranche to 16 states, namely Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and 2 union territories, Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir. 21 states and 2 union territories opted for the special window involving back-to-back borrowing coordinated by the Ministry of Finance. Out of these, 5 states did not have any shortfall on account of GST compensation. The borrowing is at an interest rate of 5.19%. It is intended to make weekly releases of 6,000 crore rupees to the states. Tenor of borrowing is expected to be broadly in the range of 3 to 5 years. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, India has leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19. The active caseload of the country has fallen below 7 lakhs for the first time after nearly 2 months, with total positive cases touching 6 lakh 95,509, which comprises merely 8.96% of the total reported cases. Here's more.
The trend of a rising rate recovery of COVID patients, coupled with a falling number of active cases, continues across states. Mortality rate is also falling. Recoveries across India now total nearly 70 lakh. The gap between active cases and recovered cases has also been widening. Recovered cases are now nearly 10 times more than active cases. 73,979 recovered patients were discharged in the last 24 hours, while there were 54,366 new confirmed cases. India has seen 690 deaths in the past 24 hours. The national recovery rate has further progressed to 89.53%. Total COVID-19 positive cases reported in India till now has touched 77,61,312, of which 6,95,509 are still active cases as of today. Up to 69,48,497 people have recovered, while 1,17,306 people succumbed to the virus since it was first recorded in India in January. The country also crossed a new peak of conducting over 10 crore COVID tests till date. In the last 24 hours, over 14,42,000 tests have been conducted. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, in a big boost to India's indigenous vaccine plan, Bharat Biotech has been cleared for phase 3 trials in India. Covaxin is being indigenously developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research. The third phase of trials, proposed to start in the first week of next month, will test the potential vaccine candidate on over 28,000 people aged 18 years and above. The tests will be conducted across 10 states and 19 sites, including Delhi, Mumbai, Patna and Lucknow, among others. Besides, Bharat Biotech, an indigenously developed vaccine candidate by Zydus Kerala Limited, is also in phase 2 of human clinical trials. The Pune-based Serum Institute of India, which has partnered with AstraZeneca for manufacturing the Oxford COVID-19 vaccine candidate, is also conducting phase 2 and 3 human clinical trials in the country. Well, Health Minister Harshvardhan on Friday said that the next 3 months will decide India's COVID-19 trajectory. He once again appealed to people to follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior in the festive season and winter months. Vardhan was reviewing the COVID-19 situation with the Health Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Harshvardhan emphasized the need to scale up testing, surveillance, contact tracing and early diagnosis to keep the death rate low. Moving on to other news now, where the Indian Navy on Friday shared a video showing the missile corvette INS Prabal destroying a target ship with deadly accuracy with an anti-ship missile. The missile was fired by the frontline corvette as part of the mega naval drill involving aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya and many warships, attack helicopters, aircraft and other assets. An Indian Navy spokesperson said that the missile launched from the Arabian Sea homed in on its target on an old ship, hitting it at its maximum range. The video comes the day after Chief of Army Staff General M.M. Naravne commissioned the anti-submarine warfare stealth corvette INS Kavaratti into the Indian Navy at the Naval Dockyard. On Thursday, Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Karambir Singh also reviewed the operational preparedness of his force at various shore-based locations and at sea. Some international news now, where US President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden concluded the final presidential debate with contrasting views as they look to persuade the few remaining undecided voters ahead of the November 3rd presidential election. Both Trump and Biden debated a host of issues, including the COVID-19 pandemic, economy, racism, police brutality, healthcare, climate change, and foreign policy. Here's a detailed report.
How would you lead the country?
As compared to the first US presidential debate, the third and final one that took place on Thursday turned out to be more disciplined and substantive. The second debate was cancelled after US President Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19. The televised encounter in Nashville, Tennessee, was a chance for President Donald Trump to reshape the election campaign dominated by the COVID-19 pandemic that claimed over 221,000 people in the United States.
People can choose.
There will be
We
no
have
fracking.
a number of topics.
No, but we have no choice.
The pandemic dominated the opening minutes of the Trump-Biden face-off, with the US President calling the contagion a worldwide problem. While Trump insisted that his administration had done a good job with the pandemic, he maintained that America needs to learn to live with it. Biden claimed Trump had no plan to deal with it.
10 million people have lost.
And we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks.
What are you hiding? 220,000 Americans dead. You hear nothing else I say tonight. Hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
You've described
On the nationwide clashes triggered by the death of George Floyd, a black man in police custody, the US President said his administration has tried to address racial inequality in the US through justice and prison reform.
As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say.
He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. Started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexicans, ban Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board.
Biden criticized Trump's attempts to persuade the US Supreme Court to invalidate the Affordable Care Act that was passed when he was vice president. He said that people deserve to have affordable health care. Trump said he wanted to replace the Affordable Care Act with something much better that offered the same protections.
Ridiculous. What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option.
On the issue of climate change, Democratic candidate Joe Biden announced that he will join the Paris Accord, while Trump called it a disaster. Trump added that it will deny jobs to Americans. Biden said that implementing the Paris Accord will strengthen the economy and create more jobs.
I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions. The court, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies.
We're going to invest in, for example, 50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs.
A record 47 million Americans already have cast ballots, eclipsing total early voting from the 2016 election. The vote this year for the new president is expected to be heavily influenced on Trump and Biden's response to the pandemic, apart from key issues like racism and police brutality. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Well, moving on now, International Snow Leopard Day is being celebrated today to create awareness about the conservation and preservation of the species. Addressing an event, Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the snow leopards are revered in Indian culture for their role in protecting high-altitude ecosystems. Snow leopards are listed as vulnerable in the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List. The majestic animal acts as an indicator of the health of the ecosystem in which they live due to their position as the top predator in the food chain. Reduction in prey populations, illegal poaching and increased human trespass into their habitat are some of the reasons for their declining numbers. In an effort to arrest their decline, governments of the snow leopard range countries are joining hands to assist in conserving their numbers and habitat. Well, the entire country came alive with the vibrant colors of Mahasaptami on the auspicious 7th day of Navratri. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings on the auspicious occasion. In his message, Prime Minister Modi prayed to Goddess Kalratri to eliminate all negative energy and take away all our fears. The Kalratri Devi Puja started in the morning in all temples, ashrams and community pandals with Vedic hymns, playing of conch shells and beating of drums. The Navratri festival is being held amid COVID-19 pandemic with strict health guidelines. Devotees wearing face cover and following physical distancing assembled in various pandals to offer puja and pushpanjali. However, numbers are considerably lesser this year at the temples and pandals. Well, with that, we'll call it a wrap on this newscast. But as we leave, we'd like to make an appeal to all our viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic.